Imagine this, you're a 6'10" white man named Kent Benson in the year of 1977, and you're the biggest basketball player in the world. With averages of 19 and 10 in the past 2 seasons, you were the NCAA tournament's most outstanding player in 1976 and led Indiana to a miracle title run that same year. And so, when the Milwaukee Bucks learned that they've just earned the #1 pick of the NBA draft, well, they can't wait to use it on you. In their minds, you're gonna be the next Kareem or Bill Russell. With the whole world watching, you step out onto an NBA court for the first time ever to make your NBA debut against the Lakers. 2 minutes into the game, you jab into Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's chest to position yourself on a play. You think nothing of it. Then, you fucking die. While it was true that Kent Benson and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were expected to build an iconic rivalry over the years, nobody thought it would start off quite like this. Benson would only miss 1 game with a concussion as a result of this play, but it set the foundation for a career that would only be full of disappointments. When Benson decided to hang it up in 1988, the NBA world had unanimously agreed that he was the biggest bust of all time. You simply can't catch an L that tremendous and expect to bounce back from it. But when it comes to classic L catchers, I think we all have one name in mind. That's right, I'm talking about Brandon Knight. We all remember that time a young, innocent, fully vaccinated Kyrie Irving sent Knight falling off the face of the flat earth with this crossover. Thankfully, Knight survived this attack, only to be sent to the literal heavens from this DeAndre Jordan dunk. But look, redemption. My man has stolen the ball from Brooklyn. He's on the run. Nothing can stop him but him. Him and his beef with the NBA gods. What did you do to get them so mad? But the thing is, there's a difference between being unlucky and being a loser. Luck takes over in short, specific moments when a player's fate is determined by how they act in just a few seconds of time. But true losses take long and sustained instances of underperformance, like 48 minutes of underperformance, a season of underperformance, even, perhaps, a full career of underperformance. Shout out to Kent Benson. But essentially, to be a true NBA loser, you gotta lose games. And ironically, Brandon Knight did this very well, missing the playoffs in all 8 of his NBA seasons. But this amount cowers in the face of Corey Maggetti's NBA record of 15 years missing the playoffs. And for anyone who wants to see the complete leaderboard of NBA players that have the most seasons missing the playoffs, well, you shouldn't be surprised that the top 4 players on this list all played for the Clippers. Perhaps even more devastating than missing the playoffs, though, is getting knocked in the first round year after year after year. It's a spark of hope that only gets crushed in an instant. The Portland Trailblazers have lost in the first round 25 times in their history, more than any other team ever. Even worse are the Timberwolves, who have lost in the first round in 88% of the times they've made the playoffs. Speaking of losers, Carmelo Anthony recently tied the record for the most first-round playoff losses ever when his Blazers fell to the Nuggets last year in the postseason. He's now lost in round #1 in 11 of his 13 playoff appearances, and could very well do it again this year with LA. Melo shares this record with Terry Porter, who, you guessed it, also played for the Blazers. Even worse is the torturous 15 consecutive years of pain in which Tracy McGrady either lost in the first round or didn't even make the playoffs at all. That's his entire career outside of his final year with the Spurs that, if DeMarcus Cousins didn't exist, I would call the biggest ring chaser move in NBA history. But who actually has the most career losses? Vince Carter, a man who's simultaneously an NBA legend, but also whose biggest career accomplishment is something that was just achieved by Anthony fucking Simons, has the most regular season losses in NBA history with 756 L's. The second on this list is Jamal Crawford, and third is a man by the name of Johnny Newman. Who the hell is Johnny Newman? Well, if he didn't lose 664 games, maybe one of us might have known. But you see, the thing is, basketball is a team sport, and losing takes the work of a team. The longest losing streak ever is a record held by the Philadelphia 76ers, who lost 28 consecutive games. Notice how I didn't tell you which year this happened in, because it happened in 2 different seasons. The streak started in the 2014 through 15 season, then the year ended, and the streak continued into the 2015 through 16 season. They lost for 2 years. Sam Hinkie, more like Sam Stinky. I am hilarious. Anyways, in both of these years, somehow, Philly had a better record than the 2012 Charlotte Bobcats, who won only 7 games all year. This is an L that Michael Jordan should have definitely taken personally, because this team's failure was entirely his fault. He built a roster that had only 2 players that still currently play in the NBA, and yes, that was a deliberate shot at Kemba Walker. But as I said, losing is a team effort, unless you're Kemba Walker. And because of this, well, when you lose by 73 points to a Ja Morantless Grizzlies team, you make a pretty good case for being the biggest losers ever. After this loss, the OKC Thunder are now going by the name Sea Thunder, because they're clearly not okay. However, all of these losses don't even begin to compare to the man that I believe is the biggest loser in NBA history. That crown belongs to Lenny Wilkins, a man who the NBA dares call one of its 75 greatest players. Lenny's career started off strong in the 60s with Bob Pettit and the Hawks, but Wilkins would really make a name for himself after his time in St. Louis, joining the Sonics, Cavaliers, and, wouldn't you guess it, the Portland Trailblazers. In Wilkins's 7 combined years with these teams, he missed the playoffs each and every year, racking up a total of 526 career losses.
But KOGOSTOMUS,
I hear your oblivious little mouth cry from the depths of hell.
Other players had more career losses than
Coaching. 32 years of coaching. During the dark ages of damn near every franchise, Wilkins was standing there by the sidelines guiding that team, probably telling his players to headbutt the ball into the basket, because I don't know how else you end up with 1,155 career losses if you're not doing any soccer shenanigans. I'm convinced that the NBA only inducted Wilkins into the Hall of Fame as a coach out of sheer fear. Only an emotionless psychopath would willingly endure that much pain and suffering for 32 years. So now, if we do some simple addition, we end up with 1,641 career losses, 20 total seasons missing the playoffs, and 11 seasons losing in the first round. Yeah, I think it's pretty fair to say that nobody is a bigger loser than this guy. A challenger? To that shit? Alright, tough guy, reveal yourself. Well, gadzooks, if it isn't 5'7" Red Klotz, the man who impressively won a championship in his one and only season in the NBA, and then thought to himself, well, I really hated that feeling, and decided to never win a game of basketball ever again for the next 70 years. Following his lone season in the NBA, Klotz created the Washington Generals, the team that the Harlem Globetrotters have been mercilessly beating for the past 70 years. For 70 years, Klotz willingly was mocked, teased, and used like a doormat, getting humiliated in 100 different total countries and losing over 14,000 games. To this day, the Generals' record sits at 2-14,000. Congratulations to Red Klotz for being the best at being the worst. Sorry, Lenny, but this crown belongs to Red. And with that, as always, stay safe out there.